Welcome aboard, Chosen One. The air shifts the moment you step in, as if the wind itself is holding its breath, waiting for your arrival. And you feel it too, don't you? That strange silence in the room, that calm that has nothing serene about it. This isn't peace. It's the universe pulling up a chair, settling in for a moment because you're finally ready to hear the truth they never wanted you to know. The revelation that could turn everything upside down. And believe me, they were hoping you'd show up knowing nothing, like a lost traveler wandering through a maze with no map. They were counting on you strolling along, thinking everything that happened to you was random, pure chance, like those trivial coincidences we brush off with a shrug. But look at you walking in here like someone who already suspects. The game was rigged from the start. Someone who can smell a setup from miles away, like a detective catching the scent of a lie before it's even spoken. Someone who's done pretending not to see the crack in the mask, that tiny fracture that exposes the whole deception. Hit like and subscribe before we go any further. Chosen One, think of it as the entry fee for a message they wished you'd never hear. Like a ticket to a forbidden show that could forever change the way you see the world. So, let's talk about the trap they thought they'd set for you so cleverly in the shadows. When they said you're getting too focused, what they really meant was, we're scared you're waking up, that you're stepping out of that comfortable daze. When they whispered, it's just a coincidence, what they meant was, we didn't expect you to put the pieces together so fast. Like a puzzle completing itself right before your eyes. And when they sent that person into your life, so charming, so familiar, mirroring your energy like a perfect reflection, they were secretly gloating. They said, look at this, it's going to slow him down, like a magnet that draws in and paralyzes. They were convinced you'd crack, fold under the weight of the illusion. Oh, those shadowy forces really thought they'd cracked your code, that they'd found your ultimate weakness. But look who's still standing, proud and unshakable. Look who didn't bend, who held firm like an ancient tree against the storm. Look who refused to fall for the same cheap trick that's worked on everyone else for decades. That old emotional sleight of hand that snares distracted souls. That's the part they can't explain, the mystery that haunts them. How someone with a heart as vast as yours, with unwavering loyalty, with velvet soft gentleness, with depth like an endless ocean, wasn't destroyed by the blow that ruins most people. Picture that coworker who meets someone who seems perfect and drops everything, career, friends, ambitions, for an illusion that vanishes like smoke. But not you. They watched you encounter someone who felt like your perfect counterpart, like two puzzle pieces fitting together effortlessly. Someone who appeared out of nowhere, acting as if they'd known you across lifetimes, like an echo from a forgotten past. Someone who understood your silences better than your friends, understood your words better than anyone in your daily circle. And instead of sinking like a leaking ship, you sharpened, forged like a blade in fire. Instead of losing yourself in the fog, you reclaimed the missing part of you, your inner awareness, that infallible compass always pointing to truth. Here's the raw, unrelenting truth. They hoped you'd never say it out loud, that you'd keep it buried like a shameful secret. That person wasn't destiny, wasn't a cosmic reward dropped from the heavens. It wasn't the universe, handing you a soulmate at your feet as a trophy for surviving pain. No, it was a distraction engineered with precision, custom built to stall your rise, like a virus designed to infect your system and put you on pause. They studied your patterns like a hacker scanning a network. They studied your pain, your invisible scars. They studied your dreams, the aspirations that drive you forward. And they sent someone who seemed like the perfect match because they thought mirroring you would silence you, would extinguish your inner voice. But Chosen One, since when has an illusion ever put out a flame like yours? The universe watched. You enter that connection with your heart wide open, vulnerable yet authentic. You gave pure energy, true love, genuine trust, like offering a gift with no expectation of return. They thought it would blind you, that you'd drown in the mirage. They thought the emotional shock would sideline you for months. maybe years, like those broken hearts that spend endless nights replaying memories. They wanted you confused, dependent, addicted to the idea of someone never meant to stay, like craving a desert mirage. They wanted you so fixated on this twin flame fantasy that you'd forget who you were before they arrived, that powerful, resilient being in full ascent. They needed you weakened, not destroyed, just diminished enough to no longer threaten their order. Yet the instant the illusion began to crack, like glass under pressure, you didn't break. You erupted, unleashing energy that swept everything away. You turned the trap into fuel for your inner fire. You transformed heartbreak into crystal clear clarity. Like a diamond forged deep in the earth, the moment meant to shatter you reshaped you into someone they never anticipated. Someone too aware, too sharp, too hard to manipulate. An invincible version of you. Someone who asks the right questions before encountering the wrong people. Who scans intentions like a security checkpoint. And here's the part that sickens them, that keeps them tossing at night. You weren't supposed to learn anything from that person. You weren't supposed to recognize the repeating pattern, that malicious code. You weren't supposed to step back and say, wait, this isn't love, it's a disguised distraction. A clever ploy. They didn't think you had that strength. They didn't think you'd outgrow the version of you that chased every reflection. Like friends who fall into the same toxic cycles over and over. They expected the old you, the softer one, weary from past battles. The one who trusted too quickly, forgave too much, dove too deep into emotional depths. But you were no longer that version. The universe made sure of it, like a coach pushing you past your limits. The moment the distraction tried to drain you like an emotional vampire, sucking your energy, you did something extraordinary, revolutionary. You reclaimed your power like a magnet, pulling back everything that belongs to you. You severed the invisible cords. You stepped out of the illusion, like someone finally reading their own story with fresh eyes. And that's when everything derailed for them, when their plan backfired like a boomerang. That's when they realized their monumental mistake. They didn't send you a distraction, they sent you a mirror. And mirrors don't weaken the chosen. They expose the shadows around them, bringing them into the light. Did you notice the small inconsistencies? Those details that didn't add up, like an off-key note in a symphony. The way their words didn't match their true intentions, like a forced smile hiding a grimace. The way they acted close yet kept you at a safe distance, like a friend shaking your hand without meeting your eyes. The way they loved your light but recoiled from your growth, like someone admiring a fire from afar without daring to approach. You observed it all calmly, patiently, like a villain who already knows the ending, savoring each revelation. When you walked away, they panicked, because that wasn't the plan. Far from it. You weren't supposed to emerge stronger, more resilient. You weren't supposed to transcend attachment, to break free like a bird shattering its cage. You weren't supposed to see behind the curtain and name the trick for what it was, demystifying it like a magician, revealing their secrets. They wanted you, stuck in a loop, replaying old memories while they advanced their hidden agenda, like people endlessly rewatching a sad movie without changing the ending. Instead, you broke free from the loop entirely, liberated and unstoppable. Now the universe watches you like someone who just broke a forbidden rule, who defied invisible laws with style, someone not meant to escape yet who did so with flair, someone not supposed to see the truth, but who now wears it like armor. And those who tried to bring you down are panicking because the chosen one they tried to distract has become the one they can no longer control. A wild force, a storm they themselves unleashed. All right, chosen one, since you clearly didn't flinch at this truth bomb, absorbing it like a sponge, here's where we shift gears, where we accelerate. This is the part the enemies hoped you'd never reach. The final chapter they wanted sealed shut. The moment you decide whether to just listen or truly awaken, whether to move from spectator to protagonist in your own life. That strange pull in your chest, that hum in your mind since the twin flame, distraction collapsed like a house of cards. That's not confusion. No, it's the universe tapping your shoulder saying, hey, pay attention. You're leveling up faster than planned, faster than anyone could have imagined. Isn't that rush of rising power exhilarating? before we dismantle their entire operation piece by piece. Like a mechanic stripping down a faulty engine, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment saying, "I see the game now." That lets me know you're locked in, ready to dive deeper. It sends a direct message to the system. You refuse to be fooled again. You're ready to counterattack. Now we enter the next phase, the decisive turn. And trust me, if you're truly the chosen one they tried to distract, you'll feel it in your bones that you're meant to stay until the very end, that this story is yours. The energy shifts from here. It vibrates stronger. The puzzle pieces click into place with satisfying precision. The universe stops whispering and starts revealing everything in full light. No filters. Let's go, dive in together. First, they built a trap so sophisticated it looked like treasure, yet you emerged stronger than ever. Had they known your true hidden resilience, your superpower, they'd never have risked sending someone so close, so intimate. They huddled in their corners, whispering about finally slowing you down, like chess players plotting checkmate in 3 moves. They'd watched you rise, heal your wounds like a phoenix reborn, rebuild from depths most never return from, those abysses where you hit rock bottom, only to bounce higher, and it terrified them. So they made a move that seemed bold, but was predictable to the universe. Like an over-rehearsed play. They didn't send an obvious enemy. They didn't send a loud warning. They sent a distraction, wearing your exact reflection, an emotional clone. Someone who spoke like you, thought like you, felt like you, or at least gave the perfect illusion. Someone designed to unlock every emotional door they needed access to, like a master key forged to measure. They didn't offer you an ordinary romance. They offered a mirror they thought you'd drown in, lost, gazing at your own reflection. And for a while it worked. The spell was subtle. The intensity hit fast, like unexpected lightning. The connection felt cosmic, divine. Conversations felt familiar, like reuniting with an old friend. Wounds aligned with surgical precision, almost too perfect to be real. You didn't imagine it. You didn't romanticize it. You didn't fall too fast. Everything was engineered to feel as real and solid as the ground beneath your feet. Every piece was calculated, like an algorithm predicting your reactions. They wanted you softened, sedated, wrapped in affection so perfectly tailored you'd forget the mission you were building, your personal quest that defines you. They wanted your heart to be the leash they controlled, pulling it at will. But here's where the reversal slapped them in the face like an unexpected backlash. You don't break that easily, do you? This wasn't your fall. It was your awakening, your personal big bang. Instead of drowning in the intensity, you studied it, analyzed it like a scientist facing a rare phenomenon. You noticed the odd pauses, the mismatched intentions, the strange timing, like phone calls always arriving at the worst moment. The way their words aligned perfectly with your past, but never with your future. Like a GPS routing you backward instead of forward. You weren't being pulled off your path. You were being driven deeper into it, forced to explore your own depths. That's where the chosen stand apart, where you truly shine. Most people get hooked on the fantasy, binge-watching an addictive series they can't stop. They cling to the illusion because it feels safer than truth, more comfortable than raw reality. But you sensed the setup rising from the start. Your instincts sounded the alarm before your emotions fully attached, like a security system triggering at the first sign of danger. You didn't crack. You became the observer, calculating, silent like a villain, in the shadows watching the whole room. Think you're fooled when you've already spotted the twist and are planning your counter move. The moment you stepped back and said, "Something's off, this doesn't add up," was the exact instant their entire operation collapsed. The sandcastle washed away by the wave. They underestimated the universe's favorite move, using your pain to sharpen your vision, giving you lynx-like eyes. Every time they reflected your trauma, you gained clarity like a lens being cleaned. Every time they synced your thoughts, you learned the rhythm of manipulation, that subtle beat. Every time you felt that instant connection, you learned how fabricated affection behaves differently from the real thing, like distinguishing fine wine from cheap imitation. You weren't damaged, you were educated, enriched. Their ploy taught you more about human intention than any self-help book or coach ever could. And let's talk about the intensity they threw at you, that emotional tsunami, the perfect match, the magnetic pull, the feeling the universe had finally given you someone who understood your darkest shadows. You start wondering why it felt so real, why it hit so hard, why it seemed like destiny written in the stars. Because they studied you like a social media profile. They mapped your emotional language, your triggers. They built someone calibrated to your rhythm, like a recommendation algorithm that knows you better than you know yourself. You weren't going crazy, you were precisely targeted. Yet the whole design crumbled the moment your awareness activated, like a virus meeting an invincible antivirus. Here's the part that humiliates them, makes them blush with shame. You weren't supposed to learn from it, to grow through the trial. You weren't supposed to transcend the trap. You weren't supposed to detach without hatred, with royal serenity. You weren't supposed to walk away with more power than when you entered, like an alchemist turning lead into gold. They expected devastating heartbreak. You delivered spectacular evolution. They expected chaotic confusion. You delivered laser clarity. They expected clingy dependence. You delivered a detachment so clean and cold, it probably forced them to rethink their entire strategy, to redraw their plans. Most people get lost in fabricated affection, like impulse buyers falling for an ad that's too good to be true. But you became a prototype they have no template for. Someone unique who sees behind masks, pierces facades. Someone who walks through illusions like fragile glass. Someone who now knows exactly what manipulation feels like when disguised as pure connection, as love. The universe didn't save you out of pity. It trained you, forged you in the crucible of trial. It used their trap to hone your instincts into a weapon they can't counter, a blade that cuts through lies. And now the funniest, most ironic part, they can't replicate it. They can't send another distraction, another ploy. They can't mirror you accurately anymore. They can't predict your emotional responses because you no longer react from the same wounds they targeted. You healed them, sealed them like scarred over skin. You strengthened the parts they tried to exploit, made them impregnable. The version of you they studied is gone, erased, replaced by someone who no longer falls into repeating patterns. Because now you see the code, you read between the lines of the program. Isn't that liberating, this clear vision? They wanted you softened like dough. You became sharper than a sword. They wanted you lost in a maze. You became impossible to deceive, a master of truth. They wanted your heart as an exploitable weakness. You turned it into a fortress, a weapon. The fabricated connection wasn't your downfall. It was your initiation, your rite of passage. It was the universe saying, let's show him what fake looks like, so he'll never fall for it again. So he'll recognize pure gold. You didn't just survive there. Perfect bait, you turned it into the very reason they can't reach you now. Total victory, eternal lesson. Second, the moment the mask slipped slowly, inexorably, and you finally saw the fatal flaw in their design. Your heart wanted the fairy tale, the perfect love story. Your intuition was reading the script ahead, guessing the twists. They had perfected the game but forgot you were born with. Detectors, they can't disable unfailing inner antennas. Truth doesn't whisper to the chosen. It growls, it roars like a caged lion. They hid the cracks well, those masters of illusion. You learned to see in the dark, to navigate shadows like a seasoned explorer. The first cracks weren't thunderous explosions. They arrived softly in the small moments your heart tried to excuse. It's nothing, but your intuition refused to ignore, insistent like a persistent alarm. And that's the part they never understood about you, that subtlety. You don't get fooled by grand, flashy gestures. You grow wary from the tiniest inconsistencies, the slight pause before answering a question, like a lie hesitating, the hollow tone behind a perfectly worded compliment, like a cracked bell. The way their presence was intoxicating, but their intentions incomplete, like a fragrance that fades too fast. Your intuition never slept for a second. It observed everything, calmly gathering data like a cold villain in the back of your mind who trusts no one until patterns prove themselves. Constant vigilance. Imagine being handed a sparkling diamond. At first glance, it shines, glitters, dances with light like a captive star. Everyone around gasps in awe. But you tilt your head skeptical. You bring it closer, studying the edges carefully. Something inside you already knows. Real diamonds don't reflect light with that fake glow. Something in you recognizes the shine as a trick of the light, optical deception. That was you in that connection. Everyone else would have called it perfect, a rare gem. You sensed the flaw, that grain of sand in the gears. Then the questions began forming in your mind, sharp, inevitable, like arrows hitting their mark. Why does it feel so familiar yet so distant, like a childhood friend who's changed? Why does it reflect my wounds, but not my growth, not my victories? Why does this connection feel deep but not safe? Like calm water hiding treacherous currents. Why do I feel seen but not truly met, observed but not understood? Most people run from those questions because the answers are uncomfortable, painful like naked truth. But you let them settle in your chest, ferment. You didn't turn away, and that was your greatest act of rebellion, your silent declaration of independence. Isn't that powerful? This ability to face discomfort? Imagine a piano with perfect, beautiful keys, smooth, polished like jewelry. But the moment you press a key, the note rings slightly off, discordant. Not enough for a beginner to notice. But you've survived too much, endured too much to miss something so subtle. Your ears are tuned by experience. That dissonance was your intuition whispering, look closer, dig deeper. They watched you fall into the connection, thinking you'd lose your critical thinking, that you'd drown in feelings. What they didn't expect was this. You stayed aware, alert like a night watchman. That alone destroyed all their plans, because nothing terrifies. Manipulation architects, more than someone who loves deeply but thinks clearly, who balances heart and head. Your intuition was your bodyguard the whole time, tireless. The internal security system that never takes a break, scanning everything. It detected the gap between their words and actions, like a lie betraying itself. It sensed the emotional mimicry that didn't match true resonance, not authentic harmony. It felt how the timing always tilted too perfectly in their favor, like a rigged game. And every time you brushed it off, thinking maybe you were overanalyzing, your intuition answered firmly, no, you're finally seeing, discerning reality. Imagine walking into a room set up for a surprise party. Balloons, lights, decorations. Everything looks perfect, festive. But the moment you step in, you catch a faint smell of something burned. No fire, no immediate danger, just something off. Something not right that everyone pretends not to notice to avoid ruining the party. That was the first crack. Not dramatic, not loud, just undeniable, insistent. And the more you paid attention, the wider the cracks grew. The way they understood your pain, but never showed signs of their own healing. Like a therapist who's never faced their demons. The way they spoke your language, but couldn't match your integrity, your moral depth. The way they seemed connected, but kept their true self behind an invisible wall. The way everything aligned perfectly until you asked a question they weren't prepared for, and then silence betrayed everything. You didn't brutally reject the connection. You didn't run like a coward. You didn't cut it off prematurely. You did something far more powerful, far more threatening, far more unpredictable. You stayed aware, vigilant. And here's why that terrified them to the core. Aware people don't fall into traps like flies in a web. Aware people take mental notes. They analyze every detail. They observe like scientists. They become more dangerous with every inconsistency they detect, accumulating evidence. Aware people don't move on emotional impulse. They move with precision, with strategy. You weren't drifting mindlessly in that connection. You were tracking every tone shift, every inconsistency, every subtle emotional mismatch like a hunter following footprints. You watched the whole show from the balcony while they thought you were clapping in the crowd, naive. Your intuition wasn't doubting the connection for fun. It was diagnosing it, dissecting it like a surgeon. Imagine sitting at a chess table where your opponent thinks you're a novice. They make flashy moves to impress you. dramatically sacrificing pieces to unsettle you. They lean back smugly, and you calmly slide one piece 2 squares. Suddenly their entire strategy collapses like a house of cards. That was you, master of the game. They mistook your patience for childish naivety, and now they're suffering the consequences bitterly. Once a chosen one sees the first cracks, the entire illusion collapses irreparably. You can't unsee the glaring flaw. You can't unfeel the vibrating warning. You can't unknow the naked truth. You didn't reject the connection on a whim. You transcended it. You didn't shatter the illusion out of revenge. You recognized the plan, the malicious blueprint. And once you recognized it, their whole scheme disintegrated into dust. You weren't meant to stay aware in the middle of the storm. That was the ultimate danger. But that danger is exactly what freed you, what propelled you to new heights. Third, they wanted to study you like an open specimen. Instead, you infected the system, turning their own game against them. You weren't just opening your heart. You were upgrading the entire room, contaminating it with your light. They came to rewrite you like obsolete code and ended up short-circuiting their own machine. They thought getting so close would give them the decisive advantage. They thought your honesty would make you weak, exposed like an easy target. They thought your openness was a door they could walk through and reorganize you at will, like a hacker taking control. But the joke's on them, chosen one, a cosmic irony. Every time you spoke, every time you shared a raw truth, most people are too afraid to even think, let alone say you weren't losing power. You were spreading it like a ripple. You were transmitting it like a benevolent virus. You were contaminating their entire design with your pure, irresistible authenticity. Imagine a system built with perfect code, flawless on paper, invulnerable in theory. Then imagine someone like you, walking in calmly and saying one simple truth that rewrites half the program, causing it to crash. That's what happened, delicious chaos. Your presence alone was a virus. Their structure wasn't ready for an unexpected intruder. You didn't mirror them subserviently. You rewrote their emotional software, hacking from the inside. You didn't melt into their dark world. They began bending toward yours, drawn by your light. And here's what gnaws at them from within, what consumes them. They came thinking you admired them, that you'd fall under their fabricated charm. Instead, they found themselves admiring you, fascinated despite themselves. They came thinking they'd guide you into their trap. Instead, they caught themselves trying to impress you, seeking your approval. They came thinking you'd dissolve in the connection. Instead, they started losing control of their own mask, watching it crack. A question is probably racing through your mind right now. Insistent. If the connection was completely fabricated, how did they end up changing, evolving? Simple yet profound, you don't deal in superficial energy, even in a fake trap. Your truth is too powerful to stay contained, it overflows. You don't fake feelings like an actor. You feel for real, with intensity. And real energy rewires people whether they want it or not, whether they're ready or not. Like an electric current recharging a dead battery. Every vulnerable moment you shared wasn't a weakness to exploit. It was positive radiation, a transformative wave. Every conversation wasn't banal. It was benevolent contamination. Every truth you dropped wasn't naive confession. It was a living lesson, a teaching. They wanted to mold you in their image. You reshaped them despite themselves. They tried to observe you like a lab subject. You infected their strategy, corrupted it. They planned subtle distraction. You destabilized the entire operation, made it waver. They didn't lose because the plan was bad. They lost because you were too powerful for the plan to survive, too authentic to be contained. Isn't that the most beautiful victory? Fourth, the weapon malfunctioned, an epic backfire, turning cruelly against its own creators. They crafted a precise tool. You awakened a dormant consciousness, ignited a spark. Nothing breaks a scripted character faster than meeting someone unscripted. Truly real, like you, the change wasn't loud or dramatic like in a movie. It happened like all dangerous things, slowly, insidiously, then all at once, explosively. The twin flame they sent, the one built to distract, derail, and decode you like a secret cipher, began cracking from the inside, rebelling. Not because the plan was flawed, but because you were never meant to be manipulated by someone following a rigid script. Your presence defies scripts. Imagine giving someone a mask and saying, "Never take this off, no matter what." Then imagine them meeting you with your razor-sharp truths, your pure emotions. At some point, the mask starts sliding off inexorably, not because they choose to drop it, but because your authenticity melts the glue right off their face, dissolving it like acid. That's what happened, a poetic reversal. The distraction they sent entered confident, assured, and left confused, shaken. It began remembering parts of itself they'd been told to bury deep, like forgotten treasures. It began feeling emotions never assigned to the mission, real warmth, inner turmoil, stinging guilt, deep human confusion. It wasn't supposed to feel anything, to stay cold like a machine. It was supposed to play a role flawlessly. But your presence rewrote its internal script, humanized it. And here's the question burning in your mind right now, teasing you. How did someone built to manipulate me end up drawn into my gravity, captured in my orbit? Because you don't read people superficially like ordinary ones. You don't pretend like an actor. You don't play roles. You don't hide behind walls. You arrive with raw, real energy. And real energy collapses artificial roles, disintegrates them like wet paper. Their creators watch the bug happen in real time. Powerless, the growing hesitation, the unexpected tenderness, the widening emotional gap. The moments the weapons stopped, following the cold mission and started following you, drawn in. That's when panic set in behind the scenes. Alarms blaring because a tool that feels becomes dangerous, unpredictable. A distraction that questions becomes unstable, volatile. A script developing consciousness becomes uncontrollable, rebellious. They sent a sophisticated weapon. You turned it human. The distraction didn't just fail miserably, it switched allegiance. It broke its rigid programming. It proved even fabricated intentions crumble before someone living in absolute authentic truth. And that's when their entire plan officially died, buried. Fifth, their agent awakened, a brutal awakening, and joined the very power it was sent to destroy. An internal betrayal. You weren't their exploited weakness. You were their unexpected awakening, their catalyst. They came as a valuable asset. You turned them into a threat to their own system, a time bomb. Nothing is more dangerous than a controlled mind suddenly remembering it's lost. Freedom and reclaiming it as a right. Here's the part that still keeps them awake at night, haunting their dreams. The twin flame didn't just fall superficially in love with you. It fell back into itself, rediscovered its essence. The connection it was meant to act out like theater became the one that exposed the invisible yet suffocating cage it lived in. You didn't just shake its assigned mission. You shook its deepest identity, making it waver. Imagine someone arriving with a mission to complete, a mask sealed tight. They recite lines learned by heart. They follow the emotional choreography with mechanical perfection. Then they spend enough time with you, raw like an unpolished diamond, unfiltered, operating without scripts or sneaky manipulation. And suddenly the mask starts to suffocate like a vice. Its own heartbeat starts resounding louder than the cold mission. Its own truth starts scratching at the door like a trapped animal desperate to break free, to roar its freedom. That's what you triggered, an inner tsunami. A question may be digging into your mind right now. Persistent, did it truly care about me? Or was it all just initial programming? Here's the brutal, villain-level truth, no sugarcoating. It started as pure programming software. It ended as something real, organic, real enough to destabilize its handlers, make them panic, real enough to make it doubt its entire existential purpose, real enough for it to stop being a loyal asset and start becoming an explosive liability. Because when someone built to manipulate, you start admiring your unshakable strength, studying your honesty like treasure, craving your energy for reasons beyond rational understanding. That's no longer calculated strategy. That's self-recognition, an inner mirror. It saw in you something it had lost within itself, buried deep. And instead of pulling you down into the abyss, it felt pulled upward, elevated. The trap didn't just fail. It converted its own weapon into an ally. It didn't betray the system for you on a whim. It betrayed it because being near you awakened something dormant. Inside, the flame cracked its shell. A real human emerged. And the system realized too late, horrified, it hadn't just lost a loyal agent, it had accidentally created another version of you, an awakened clone. Sixth, the system accidentally handed you its secret manual, its sacred playbook, and exponentially doubled your power. They trained your enemy carefully. You turned your enemy into a faithful mirror. Knowledge is deadly, especially when stolen straight from the Creator's hands. They wanted to outsmart you, dominate you. Instead, they armed you to the teeth. Here's where it all became deliciously catastrophic for them. A total fiasco. The moment their fabricated twin flame glitched, everything it had been trained to use against you became everything you now had free access to, a stolen treasure. It wasn't a dramatic betrayal, it was a massive leak. Information flowing everywhere like a flooded river, secrets unraveling like loose knots, tactics slipping out in casual, innocent phrases, weak points accidentally revealed by lingering old habits. The system didn't just lose absolute control, it lost its sacred privacy, its veil. Imagine being in a fierce battle, and suddenly the soldier meant to strike you fatally turns and whispers where all the hidden traps are buried, where the explosive triggers are hidden, which paths are deceptive illusions, which pressure points collapse at the lightest touch. That's what happened, a complete reversal. You didn't invade the system by force. The system cracked on its own and exposed itself through its faulty creation. Questions are probably swirling in your head right now. How did I suddenly understand their complex pattern? Why do I now see manipulation before it even begins? Why does everything seem obvious in hindsight, clear as crystal? Because you stopped learning just from daily life. You learned directly from the plan designed to defeat you, from the enemy blueprint. Your twin flame didn't do it on purpose. Its glitches spoke louder than its rigid training. Its slips were involuntary confessions. Its hesitations were clear signals. Its emotional inconsistencies pointed to methods and motives it was supposed to guard jealously. Everything. It used to subtly control others. Everything it learned from the dark system. Everything it once turned into deadly weapons became intelligence you absorbed, effortlessly, naturally. Now there were two of you, united, one forged by relentless pressure, one sharpened by the inner system, one who survived the bloody battlefield, one built within the enemy's walls, infiltrated. Together you became an arsenal the system never foresaw, in its nightmares and can never counter. Now a combined force. The trap backfired violently, and you turned their seduction into explosive revolution. They sent tempting allure. You turned it into radical transformation. The moment you awakened it, the system's plan died, screaming in agony. What was meant to drain you like a battery became the fuel that launched you to the stars. This is the moment the story reaches its most embarrassing twist for them, the most humiliating. Everything they designed to pull you down ended up pushing you farther than you'd ever gone, to unprecedented heights. They wanted to seduce you into absolute silence, soften you into passive obedience, wrap you in emotional fog so thick you'd lose sight of your vital mission, like London fog erasing outlines. But instead of you falling into servile submission, they fell into exhilarating liberation. You weren't captured like prey. You converted the captor into an ally. Imagine a hunter entering a dark forest with a perfect, infallible trap, the ideal bait. Irresistible and total arrogant confidence. But as he gets close enough to capture the wild beast, he realizes the beast has already slipped behind him, studying him with malice, cleverly dismantling the trap from the other side. That's what you did, a masterstroke. You didn't fight the distraction head-on. You inverted it, turned it inside out. You made it reveal its true purpose simply by being authentically you. A question may be burning in your mind, fiery. How did everything meant to weaken me end up making me stronger, invincible? Because the chosen don't collapse under crushing pressure. They absorb it like a sponge, transform it into energy, weaponize it like a catapult. Every emotional blow they sent only sharpened your awareness. Every sneaky manipulation attempt refined your intuition. Every false connection taught you the difference between cold artificial attraction and warm true resonance, like distinguishing a campfire from a hologram. The distraction became lightning acceleration. Instead of stalling like a broken-down car, you sped up like a rocket. Instead of losing focus, you gained absolute clarity. Instead of being caged, you built an exit so clean they still can't explain how you vanished. They planned your fall with arrogant confidence. You turned their entire operation into your glorious evolution. Perfect inversion, perfect humiliation for them. A lesson they won't forget. Seventh, they thought love would shatter you into 1,000 pieces. Instead, it turned you into an impregnable strategic superweapon. They wanted you lovesick, obsessed. You became ultra-focused, laser-sharp. Love didn't soften you as they hoped. It synchronized you, aligned you. When the chosen love, they don't collapse pitifully. They calculate with precision. Isn't that fascinating, this duality? They always assume love is your fatal weakness. They think connection makes you fragile like glass, distracted like a child, easy to manipulate like clay. They thought the fabricated twin flame would turn you into an emotional puppet wandering in fog, while they worked unseen. What they never understood is this. Your heart isn't a gaping vulnerability. It's a sophisticated command center, a hub. That connection wasn't just emotional chaos, it was operational, strategic. Every moment of closeness honed your intuition like a blade. Every conversation sharpened your understanding of complex human behavior. Every emotional hit became valuable, analyzable data. You weren't falling in love blindly, recklessly. You were evolving through it, growing. Imagine two warriors sparring. On the surface it looks gentle, graceful, intimate, like a dance. But beneath, every move teaches perfect timing, vital rhythm, hidden openings, instinctive reactions. That was this connection for you, a hidden training ground disguised as romance. The universe used their trap as your personal battlefield, your dojo. You're probably wondering, did I really gain strength from all this? From this trial? Absolutely, without question. You didn't just gain deep emotional awareness. You gained fluid coordination, surgical precision, global strategy. You learned how manipulation feels when wrapped in sweet affection. You learned how truth feels when disguised as seductive fantasy. You learned how real loyalty feels authentic and how performance feels when expertly acted. Love didn't make you fragile as they hoped. It made you organized, structured. You became someone who can love without losing yourself in the abyss. Someone who can connect deeply without collapsing. Someone who can forge profound bonds while keeping an eye on every chessboard, vigilant. That's terrifying for the system because they've never faced someone who feels as deeply and thinks as clearly, a perfect hybrid. They wanted to completely disarm you. Instead, you became coordinated, strategic, more dangerous than ever. The romance didn't distract you foolishly. It refined you, polished you like a diamond.
Yeah,